Hello, my angels and devils, and all who may wonder here. Welcome to part 2 of my micro mini album that is for the Kaiser cut aparts from their paper pads. This is going to be in Just Landed. This is the little book part we made earlier in part 1. So now we are up to part 2, which is our page construction. Now, these have all, I've already all blah 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 blah. I can't talk tonight. I've already pre-cut everything so that it works with the pages we have. So this is a 3-inch by 1 7/8 inch. My page length 3 inches. Yep. Okay. Inch. Yeah. 2 of those for flaps, and then there is a third one. So for this whole album, you will need 3 of these flaps. But we're only using 2 for the first page. So what we're going to do, super simple, we are just going to take the tape off. That's a 1/2 inch, so you can use a 1/2 inch piece of tape. I just find that gives you a little bit more sturdiness. And then we're just going to come right to the bottom, line it up, and make sure it sits. Then we're going to do the same thing here at the top. Now, I did cut a lot of matting pieces, so I probably should have these covered, but if not, that is why I have a trimmer and the whole paper pad out here, because I hadn't decided on a cover or anything. And then we go here and just line it up nicely and just make sure the tape bit's down. And then we're just going to make sure these will flip down on each other. Now what we're going to do is I have some little magnets and some tape. And what we're going to do is we know that there's a little bit of a border. So what we're going to do is just make sure that this holds down. So we're just going to pop a magnet here. These are just little, I don't even know what millimeter. These are tiny magnets I got some years ago. But you can get little magnets off the place that shall not be named and eBay. My favourites are, there's the place that shall not be named has 8mm ones, 8mm, 1mm ones, and they are fantastic. They are so good. You get 50 for $1.60, which I don't think you can beat anywhere. I was using 10mm, and then I discovered 8mm was under half the price. So then what you're going to do is you put a little bit of tape over your magnet. See what I've done here is just use a little bit of the tape off, a little bit from the tape liner, so to hold between the magnets, and then I just fold this over, make sure it's in the right place, and that way you'll get your auto close. And I just leave that there until I'm ready to decorate the page. Now the next page in this is our flip down page, but I want to use that somewhere else. I don't want to do that quite so close to the front because we already have a flip. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to do let me see. I think we will do this little thing here, which is one of the border strips, which I have in a coordinating paper. So I will just undo this bulldog clip. Now, the thing is, these are way too big for what you're using. Excuse me while I readjust a bit, trying to get comfortable and do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to need our matting piece now. Somewhere here is a huge stack of pieces for matting. So now I'm just going to pick one I like the idea of using. Let's see what we don't mind having covered up a little. Yeah, I think that. Okay. And the matting pieces I did are 1 5/8 by 2 1/4. So 1 5/8, so it's just the one past the half, and 2 1/4. Now I cut a lot of pages to that, so there should be enough to mat the entire album. I've cut other pieces to other sizes depending on what I needed, but yes, so I've made sure to utilize, as I said, I took 4 full sheets of pattern paper and I've made sure I can utilize them in this album. So what I'm doing is, because we're going to put something at the side there, I am just going to only leave a very small border at the edge, so less of a border than I normally would. Stick that down. Then we're going to figure out where we want our, so we're going to use our tape, because we don't need, oh, okay. I grabbed skinny tape, which is actually a good thing for this. I didn't realize I grabbed 3mm tape, but that's okay. So we're going to put this right along the edge of here. Now, if you wanted to fit a bit more under it, use a little bit of foam tape, or in my case, what I use is clear foam tape. I find that the clear foam tape is something I like a lot more, and it's not always as thick as regular foam tape, which is sometimes a good thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit this roughly where I want it, and I'm going to end up chopping both those bits off. But these bits can be used for tuck spots, so do not think we are going to waste those bits. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking my tumbled glass. No, is this tumbled glass? Yep, okay. I stand corrected. I'll take my tumbled glass ink, which is what I have used to ink everything up in this album. I just thought, yes, I could have gone vintage. Yes, I could have used vintage photo or tea dye, but honestly, for some reason, because there was a little bit of blue in the album, I just thought bringing that little bit of blue out, or blue into all the other pages, would be really pretty. And like, it's still masculine, it's just not as, like, it's still vintage, it's sort of more retro vintage, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So now what we do is we stick we try and line up that middle bit so that you get that nice piece in there, and then we line that up with there, push that down, grab our scissors. That's why I said, if you want to do your pages before you put them in, that is understandable, because it can sometimes be a little easier. Whoops, I've got tape on that. As I said, keep these little cloudy bits, because these bits then become, sorry, I'm a left-hander, so I just needed to be able to see what I was cutting then. There we go. And then I'm just going to grab the ink and just do a little bit of ink there, and we've created a little tuck spot. Now, in this pack, there came there came some little tags. So what I'm going to do is see what will fit. Wonder if these little ones will fit in here. So that will stand out, but if you don't mind having an extra little bit that stands out, and I quite like that, but you could always go for the smaller tags, or there's a couple of even smaller tags, but I kind of like that tag sticking out with the now boarding, so I think I'm going to leave that there, because if you remove it, you've got the photographs, so I kind of really like that. So that's 2 pages. See, now we're only 8 minutes in. As I said, building the album is the hardest part. Now what I want to do is that's ephemera. Where are you? What am I looking for? I know I have, here. Okay, so this is my side flip page. Now, I've already got my matting pieces cut and ready to go. These are the offcuts of cutting the paper to certain page lengths. So I didn't cut these, they were already mostly the length they are. So what we've got is 2 side, I call these door flips. So the door flips measure, door flips, scroll down. Okay, so that is meant to be 2.5, but that one obviously, I don't know what I did there. It's just come in under just slightly under. Yeah, so this one is 2 3/8 by 1 3/4. So we'll just check 1 3/4 by 2 3/8, yes. As I said, I'm not, because this is only the second one, and I'm not always confident in all my measurements. So what we're going to do is, again, we've scored with 1/2 inch, and we've got our tape. So I'm just going to line this up. And create our little, oops, that is terribly lined up. That is not straight at all. I want it to meet the top. The good thing about having your edges inked is if something isn't completely as straight as you want it to be, it's not going to be such a drama. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this one and do the same thing, but down the bottom. So this is what I call a door flip. I don't know what the correct name is. Oh, is that not? Did I not? And if you're finding these bits don't stick as well as you want, just add a little bit of glue under them. That's what I usually do. Just don't put your tag back in until the glue's dried. I have made that mistake. Okay, so we're just gonna... Okay, so now we have our little 2-door flip. Now, here's the thing. If you want it to shut, depending on which way you want it to shut, actually, what I'm going to do is just, sometimes if things are not shutting properly, just shave the tiniest little bit off, and then it should shut okay. And it still needs a bit more shaved off the end. Okay, shave the tiniest bit off. And there you go. So you don't have that bulge now. So what I'll do is just re-ink the bit that we cut. Sometimes I don't have any problems, even if they're cut the same measurements. Sometimes I do. So I just make sure that, so you have that. Again, we're going to do the magnet thing. So we need 2 magnets. You can use, what do you call it? So now it depends. If you want it to be a top one, but because I've cut it to be a bottom one, we're going to do that as the bottom. So what I'm going to do first is pop this here in the center. And the good thing about these magnets is they're super strong. So if you put something over this or a photo or something, you're still going to have that magnet strength. And that's why I'm doing it on top instead of underneath, because you could do it down here, but I just find this holds a little better. So we do this. Again, we grab a little bit of our tape paper to stick over it, because we don't want to stick the magnets to each other. We want them to... So hopefully these are the right way around. Hang on, double check. I should have double checked that before I put the tape on it. Yep, that's fine. Then we fold this over, and they are in the correct places. Now, because I already have these pieces matted, I'll tell you what size they are. These are 1.5 inch squares. So 1.5 inch squares. So I can take this piece off. I think we will do... the blue. See, this is 13 minutes, and this is because even though, like, once the cutting is, honestly, for me, the cutting takes the longest. So then we're just going to put our matted square on, try and get it sort of as even as possible, and make sure you have your magnet well covered over. So there you go. So now, see, now what I want to do is I want to use this little piece in the front. And imagine if I hadn't cut everything, because I had to trial and error some of it as well with cutting sizes, because I didn't keep a very good record. I kept a basic record, but not all of it. So it was really important. So then we're just, again, going to try and mat this one. This is not matted very well. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. Then we'll open it up and we'll use this black one. I tried to make sure I had everything, and as I said, I forgot the covers. Like, but to be fair, I was very distracted and doing other things as well last night and early hours of this morning when I was doing this, so that is completely my fault. Just like the screw up with the page sizing and the gusset sizing is complete. I take full responsibility for that. So then we've got this piece, which I'm going to pop in here. which again will cover over our magnet. So now, see, they clip together nicely, but they're not going to clip together in such a way that they're a pain in the butt. So I do have a piece to mat this as well, but I'm not going to do that just yet because I want to be able to mix up my matting pieces the way I wanted to for other parts. So when I've done those parts, then I will come back and go through and just finish the matting of this. As I said, once you've got your basic design, it does get a lot easier to do. And this is such a lovely range. This is the Kaiser Craft Just Landed. I'm really enjoying working with it, to be honest. And there we go. And that, so we've already done 3 pages. So now on here, let's see what else we had in this book. I have done it based on this book. Let's do a little pocket. Okay, let's see what I've got that'll work for a little pocket in the way of ephemera. Okay, none of this will really work for my pocket. That doesn't mean I don't have something. It just means I didn't think about it when I was creating this. And we have a lot of these. What I might do, so that's a good, they're good tuck spots, but they're not good pockets. Oh, hang on, is it a, oh yeah, I was looking for a pocket, but what we'll do instead is we'll just do a tuck spot. Have a look. I really like this one. So what I'm going to do is, this is why I didn't want to have all the matting squares used, because I have other things to do. We're just going to, oh, and it helps if I actually have my book up the right way. So facing me at the moment, because I'm not very good at working upside down. And thinking on the fly, because I forgot to cut a pocket, I am going to pop this piece here. And we're going to use that as a little tuck spot. So what I'm going to do is just use, I find glue easier for tuck spots just because I know it's going to stick. Whereas I find if I use tape, I find sometimes they come up a bit. So, and it doesn't matter how strong the tape is either. I've just found that as a little issue I have. So this says, the world is a book and those who do not travel read only a page. I don't necessarily agree with that because a friend of mine says I live an awfully big life for someone who rarely leaves the house. And then what I have in here that were cut apart from one of the pages were some little journaling spots. So I'm going to, like, favorite places, big city dream, life begins in the journey. So I'm just going to pop these into here once it's dry. So before it's dry, I'm just going to pop them into our little pocket so I know that that's where I want those pieces. Then what I think we will do is our this is the big flip. Now, this one I do have all my matting ready for. Now, this is, where are we? This is, I'm pretty sure it's 10 inches. Yeah, it is, because these are 2.5. Yep, so 10 inches by 2.25. What you're going to do is score the ½ inch at 2.25 and cut up to all, but you're going to cut all those away bar the very top one. Then you're going to put tape on that top one and you've got your spot. So what we're going to do is, I just had the matting pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the matting pieces. Now, this is going, hang on, what's going to be, this is going to end up being our cover. So I'm trying to use the Beautiful Photos paper as my cover pieces, as well as sometimes other things. But yeah, so we're going to use that as our cover here. Because that paper is so beautiful that you don't necessarily need anything else. And then we want to go, okay, so then here we're going to go, I think we're going to do the planes and the I'm going to pull it that way, then up. So we're going to do the plains and the black, I think, today. So the plains, the plains, the plains. Did anyone used to watch Fantasy Island growing up? I feel so old sometimes when I think of the things that have changed in my world. Well, not old. I never really truly feel old. Like, my body feels old, but me, not so much. So we have these pieces. I try and do them as evenly as possible. I am not perfect at matting, but so that's that bit, and then we flip it up this way, and I guess we start and end with the blue pieces because I don't know, I've got options. So what I might do is, because I'd like to put some decoration here, I think I'm going to do the plains because they're good for ephemera pieces and stuff to go over the top of. Then I'm going to put the blue and I'm going to put one of each of these pieces on, and then there'll be a piece when you open it up too. So we're just going to put the map piece. And I did sort of give a good border because I don't know why. I think that was in the mood I was in. So it really is up to you how you do this. And you can really just change the sizing of all this. That's the thing with the whole mini, I say mini albums, but so many I see are not really mini albums. They're just albums. They just get called minis. I'm not sure. That was way out of whack. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then we have this one. We're at 21 minutes. As you can see, actually once you've got everything cut and the basic album constructed, it's a lot faster to put all this together than it is to do all the prep work is what took me the longest, I'll be honest, and making the album. Okay, so we've got that. Then this piece is for the blue. And this is probably the fanciest page in it, to be honest. This, and because you've got the measurements and stuff, it's actually a lot easier and less complex or complicated than it looks. But it's very effective. Well, I think it's really effective, and I think it's a really fun page. I try and make things nice and interactive. So again, we've got our little book now, and we're going to pop that here. And ta-da. So you've got your pull down, pull up page. I call it flip down, flip up. So you've got places for little photos or journaling, whatever you want, and then you open it up and we'll put like a little quote or something in there. Then what else have we got in this that we have? Oh, belly band is one of the other ones that. So the belly band, I found I was really excited last night when I realized just how helpful bulldog clips are, because I don't really use them that much. Okay, so your belly band piece is 3 1/4 by 1 3/8. Now you score that at half and at 2 3/4. So then what you do is you just take the ends off this. Oh, hang on. First, hang on. Am I doing these the right way up? I'm just checking that I'm doing everything the right way up. Nothing worse than finding out you've been doing it the wrong way around. Okay, so what I need is a matting square. And I think because we've got the plains, we'll use this black one. I'm going to come to the end of this and probably regret putting the matting pieces down when I was blah, 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 when I should have waited, but that's okay. We will figure it out if it goes pear-shaped, as I want to do. So then we've got this, and what you're going to do is you fold it under. So we're just going to come along. Now this is not as long as the album. It's as long as, so, and then I have a piece of paper that is 1 1/8 by 2 inches, and that's just, there was a mistake I made and that was the piece I had, so I'm working with it. I accidentally cut a piece the wrong size and this was an offcut, so I'm working with what I have rather than cutting into new pieces of paper. The idea of this is I thought, let's see how many pieces of paper I would need to create this, pardon me, from scratch. All the white is offcuts. So there we go. We've got 4 more pages to go, and we've basically got the gist of this really well and truly on its way. So the next page we are going to do is we have a sorry, I'm sorting the paper. I should have done this earlier, was have it all sorted so I had it into piles of 4, so I wasn't reusing the same paper over and over. There we go, but I feel like I just used that blue. Okay, so, and actually I'm not going to use, that's why. We shall use the planes to planes. Because we are going to create a tuck spot with this little piece of ephemera. And actually, that's going to go in that corner there. So that's the opposite side to what I did in the original, but that's okay. Part of creating for me is if you make a mistake, how can you utilize what you made the mistake with? If you make a mistake, is it fixable? Is it usable? Like with the spine on this, I could have just chucked that whole spine, or I could have chucked the whole pages. But instead of, and I just put way too much glue on this, instead of doing either, what I did was I cut the spine down. So sometimes it's just quick thinking that can save a project from the scrap heap. So don't always give up so easily when things go wrong. I know it's easy to do, and it's not always easy. Like I used to be in the mindset when things go wrong, oh, that's the end of the world, I can't use that anymore. And then I've got the other flip up page, which is 3 inches by 1 7/8 with the half, and then you score it the 1/2 inch along the 3 inch side, and that becomes the flip up. So we've almost got our pages done. We've almost got all our designs done. So there you go. So that is your flip up with that. Now, if you want to did I magnetize this? That is the question. Did I magnetize the flip up? Just the regular flip up. Let me find it. Yes, I did. So I made a mistake here then. What I should have done is, which we can fix right now, popped a magnet on the underside. Now what you do is, with a little bit of paper, we are going to pop that over the magnet so that it doesn't go anywhere. I did have magnets. I swear I had magnets on my table. Here we go. So we're just going to pop this one down. And then I've got some offcuts of paper here that I didn't even know I had of cardstock. So I'm just going to take a piece that'll be a reasonable size because you want to cover over it. You don't want it to come up. So we just want that sort of covering our magnet. So I'm just going to glue that down and use my bone folder to press it in around the magnet. So just give it a press and a press and a press. Whoops, it doesn't help that I was trying to do it while the glue was still wet, but I was trying to also make sure it was well. So just hold it down if your glue is still wet, or use tape, it's up to you. And then just do this around your magnet so that you've created a, sort of like a little seal. See, like if you've got a battery in something, sometimes you see that little seal, and then I'm losing my ever-loving mind some days, I swear. Okay, so then on the outside of that, we're just going to let the other magnet sit for a minute while we glue this back into place. I can't believe I almost forgot the magnet then. This is what I'm telling you, like, this is me crafting. I do things. I get confused. I forget things. I get my measurements wrong. I am by no means a perfect crafter. Don't ever think that I am the perfect crafter, because honestly I am not. So now what we're going to do is pop a little tape over this other magnet. And I just take it off with my fingers, and then I just fold up the excess to fit the magnet, just so that it's not going to stick to the paper. Then we hold that, and that comes up, and then we've got, and then just in case we're going to have issues until I map that, we do that. So there's that one. And then we've got 3 more pages to go, and I'm trying to remember what I did. I know I have stuff to do other pages. I think we're, that's our inserts. Nope. We really don't have a lot to do other pages. So I think what I had planned to do was use some of these pieces like this to just create different things, and also some of the ephemera and stuff. So let's just use this piece. Where are we at? We're a bit over 30 minutes. So what I am going to do now, oh, hang on. Whoops, that's our lift up one. Oopsie. We just want to put that there as a matted piece. So I didn't even plan out all of my pages, I just realised. Way to go, Amanda. Way to go. Sometimes you've got to wonder about me, I swear. So as I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this now. I'm going to go to part 3, which is just basically finishing up our album and hopefully the cover. I will talk to you soon, my angels and devils. Let me know how you're going on your mini album. If there's anything you need me to clarify, please ask below. I will do my best. I am no expert at this. I'm fairly new. Mini albums are only something I've really started to get the hang of this year, so be gentle with me. But yes, if there's something I can help you with, please let me know, and I will talk to you all soon. Remember, as always, you are amazing, you are incredible, and yes, you truly do matter. Bye all!